Somebody knock that door. Check 1, 2, 3. Hallelujah. Are we ready? Okay. Well, shalom, everybody. Welcome to Dot Ariel Hebrew classes tonight. And this month is almost already gone, 21st. You know, I had 3 appointments, and each time I went to my appointments over at the doctor's for my spine, they cancel my appointment because the doctor ain't in. But that's all right, you know. Uh, but there's some few things I want to talk about. It won't take but a minute. Uh, First of all, let me go to this first. We've got to have a strategic plan what we're going to do if if but no, I don't really want to do that now. Okay, well that's why I thought yeah, we did get done with the class and then we'll have the discussion. Yeah. Well, we'll just hold off on the business. So Rabbi Vernon Bell is going to come and introduce the class, induction of the class, and so I'm going to go and
Larry's gonna go stand up.
I'm going to go sit down.
Hello, welcome to Dot Ariel here in Marion, Illinois. And glad to see that all of our regulars are here. And we are going into lesson number 8. And we're moving right along. Was you here last week? You wasn't here last week, was you? Was you? Okay, so you got the papers and everything you need. Good. Yeah, because I have no idea where these papers are going. So we're just going to have to use them and go. I'm going to hand them out 3 at a time from now on. And that way I know whatever we're going to, we're covering, right? Mana mana. Mitsu Young. Mitsu Young. Mitsu Young. Um, I haven't got a whole lot to say about the introduction in class 8 yet. Or does anybody get any questions about last class? I know we had a lot of stuff going on. No? Yes? Well, let's just get into it then. Anytime. I'm ready.
Watching Shalom TV, celebrating Jewish culture.
Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Tav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yud, Kaf, Raf, Lamed, Bet, Bon, Samech, Ayin, Pei, Fet, Tzadik, Kuf, Rish, Shin, Sin, Tav. Now I think I've said enough.
Welcome to another lesson in From the Aleph Bet, a series for anyone of any age who wishes to learn how to read and, more importantly, how to understand Hebrew, especially the Hebrew that's used in the experience of Judaism here in the United States. I'm Mark Golub. It's wonderful to be with you again. I want to also thank all of you who've been in touch with me with such lovely emails and a couple of cards. It's lovely to have feedback from you, and so I hope you'll always be in touch with me. And Carmela, a special thanks to you, and we will be sending you pages that go along with our television lessons. And I should say to anyone watching right now, if you would like pages of the lessons and worksheets that go along with our television programs, please be in touch with us and we'll get you both kinds of sheets, the lessons and some worksheets. Just do this by going to our website, www.shalomtv.com, or you can be in touch with me personally by emailing me at rabbigolub@shalomtv.com. And I enjoy hearing so much from all of you. If there's anything I can do to help you understand more about this series in Hebrew, please be in touch with me. This lesson, I want to begin quickly by going over the letters, simply showing you the letters we've learned thus far, and Alex will be putting them up on the screen as we go along. We have so far learned 15 of the 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet, what by and large we call consonants in the English language. Here are the 15 letters we have learned so far. We've learned the Aleph, which is a silent letter. It is a letter that has no pronunciation. In ancient Hebrew, it was a glottal letter, a deep guttural letter, but now it is simply a silent letter. The Aleph has no sound. Here is the Bet, which makes the sound of the English letter B. Here is the Gimel, what I call the galloping Gimel, since it has legs. It makes the sound of the English letter G, the hard G, G. The Dalid, which makes the sound of the English letter D. The Hey, the letter with a hole in it, and it makes the sound of the English letter H. And at the end of a word, the Hey tends to be silent, as is true of H's in the English language. Here's a letter that does not have an equivalent English sound. It is the Hebrew letter Chet. It looks a little bit like a Hey, except it does not have a hole. The Chet makes the sound of the slight clearing of the throat. And we tend to transliterate the Chet with the English letters CH, because there is no CH ch sound in Hebrew, and therefore the CH is used to express the rolling of the throat, the slight clearing of the throat. Anytime you see a CH in English transliteration of Hebrew, it is pronounced not ch, and therefore this word is not Chanukah, but Chanukah. Next letter. This is the letter Yud. It is the equivalent of the English letter Y. And if it has a vowel of its own, the Yud is a consonant and makes the Y sound, the Y sound. If it does not have a vowel of its own, the Yud is added to the preceding vowel and simply becomes part of the vowel, exactly the way the Y works in English. This is the letter Kaf. And some people think it has a cat's eye in it, or that it has a cuff link in it, but it is the English letter K, and it is the Hebrew letter Kaf. It looks a little bit like the Bet, but notice the Kaf has no bed at the bottom, and is sort of like a backwards C. So this is the Kaf, the K. This is the Hebrew letter Lamed, which makes the L sound in English, and it almost has the L at the top of it. This is the Lamed. This is a mem, which makes the M sound in English, but this mem is only written at the end of a word and therefore is called the final mem in English, or the mem sofit in Hebrew. This mem will only be seen at the end of a word, not at the beginning or middle of a word. Here is the Hebrew letter Nun, which makes the N sound in English. Here is the Hebrew letter Samech, which looks a lot like a final mem, except if you notice in the bottom right-hand corner, the Samech has a slice. The Samech has a slice, and it makes the sound of the English letter S. Samech. Here is the Resh, which is round in the upper right-hand corner. The Resh looks a little bit like a Dalid, but the Dalet is square at the upper right side. The Resh is round. The Resh makes the sound of the R in English, or it's sometimes, if you hear an Israeli read it, it has the rolling R, sort of like you'd hear in French, the R of the rolled R. Here is the letter Shin in Hebrew, and it makes the SH sound. One letter in Hebrew makes the sh sound in English, the letter Shin. And finally, the letter Tuf, which is the only letter that has a big toe, and it is the equivalent of the English letter T. This is the Tuf, the Hebrew T. And those are the 15 letters we have learned so far. And we've also learned Hebrew vowels. And vowels in Hebrew are dots and dashes. So it's very easy to distinguish between letters and vowels in the Hebrew language. Vowels are dots and dashes placed under, over, or to the left of Hebrew letters. And there is always one vowel in every Hebrew syllable. Only one vowel, always one vowel. So if one counts the dots and dashes in a Hebrew word, one immediately knows how many vowels are in the word and how many syllables are in the word. And as we show you the Hebrew vowels, we're going to add them to the Hebrew letter Aleph to show you how they're placed. We begin with the two vowels that make the ah sound, the patach and the kamatz, and both the patach and kamatz tend to make the sound ah, as in the word father. And now we're going to show you the Hebrew vowel for O, the cholam. And the cholam can be written as you see on the screen, either with a vertical line beneath it, or simply as a dot, taking the vertical line away. Both are pronounced O, cholam, and in Israel, the cholam tends to be pronounced more as an O than an O, but for our purposes, either one is acceptable. So the cholam is the O in Hebrew. We've also shown you that there are two ways to do the Hebrew vowel for U. The shuruk has the vertical line and a dot in the middle, and the kubutz are three dots descending from left to right that go under a letter. So once again, you have two ways to write the Hebrew vowel sound U in Hebrew. We also showed you the Hebrew vowel eh, called the segol. Eh, three dots. And we showed you the two dots horizontally next to each other. And this vowel is the Hebrew vowel sereh, and it makes the A sound. A. So there you have the Hebrew vowels, the ah, the o, the u, the eh, and the a. And in general, those are the letters and vowels we've taught you so far. And I want to move on to a new Hebrew letter now. And we're going to put this letter up on the screen for you. And this is the letter Pei. This is the Hebrew letter Pei. And notice the pei has a point in it. The pei has a point. It is the equivalent of the English letter P. It is the only P sound in the Hebrew language, and it is the Hebrew letter pei. And we've talked before about the fact that virtually any Hebrew letter can have a dot inside it. The dot is called a dagesh. And so if one takes, for example, the letter lamed, you can have a lamed with or without a dagesh. In both instances, the lamed makes an L sound. The dagesh does not change the sound of the Hebrew letter lamed. Let's take a gimel. Here's a gimel with a dagesh or without a dagesh. In both instances, it is the same. Gimel makes the same sound, the hard G, G sound in English. How about the shin? The shin always has a dot over it, but a shin can also have a dot inside. This dot is the dagesh. It does not change the sound of the shin. There are only 3 Hebrew letters which do change sound, whether they do or do not have a dagesh. And one of those 3 letters is the Hebrew letter pei. And Alex, we're going to put the pei up, and right next to it, a pei without a dagesh. And lo and behold, when you take the dagesh out of the pei, it is pronounced as the English letter F, and we tend to call this pei a fei. So you have the pei and you have the fei. But what's important to understand is both the pei and the fei is really the letter pei. But because we pronounce the pei as an F when we take the dagesh out of it, we tend to call it a fei. It makes it easier to teach. But understand that what you're looking at here is a pei without a dagesh. And a pei without a dagesh is pronounced as an F, and therefore we call it a fei. But it's the exact same letter. One more interesting thing about what I call the family of the pei. We so far have a pei with a dagesh. We have the fei, same letter without a dagesh. And there is a different way of writing a fei if it comes at the end of a word. We already saw that there is a final mem. This mem is only written at the end of a Hebrew word. Well, there's also a way to write a fe when it comes at the end of a word. And the way it is written, it's as if someone has grabbed a hold of the horizontal line at the bottom of the fe and pulled it straight down so that it extends below the line upon which Hebrew words are written. And just as English is written on a line, either explicit or imaginary, so Hebrew is written on a line, either explicit or imaginary. And the final fe, the fe that's written at the end of a word, always extends below the line. Again, it is as if someone has grabbed hold of the horizontal bottom of the fe and pulled it straight down below the line. This is the final fe. And once again, this final fe is only written at the end of a word, and you would always see the fe written as a final fe. It is called in English a final fe. In Hebrew, it is called a fe sofit, a fe that comes at the end of a word. So here now is the family of the pay. The pay, the fe, and the final fe. All the same letter, but pronounced differently with or without a dagesh. And sometimes I'm asked, is there also a final pay? And the answer is basically not. The only final letter is the final F sound, the final fe. So here again, we'll show you the family. You have the pay, the fe, and the final fe. Some people think that the fe looks like a face with the nose, and you can almost imagine an eye, and then you put the point where the eye would be, and you've got the pay as well as the fe. So let's take a look now at some Hebrew words with the pay, the fe, and the final fe. Here is the first word. And by the way, I'll just remind you that Hebrew was read down and then right to left. Notice it has two vowels. And since it has two vowels, it has two syllables. Can you read the first syllable? Can you read the second syllable? The first syllable is pronounced pe, mitsuyan. It's the pe with the segol under it, pe. And the second syllable? Very good, sach, sach. The samech with the patach followed by a chet, making one syllable, sach. You put the word together and you get Pesach, Pesach. And what is Pesach? Pesach is the word for the Jewish holiday of Passover. Pesach is Passover. And Pesach is derived from the word for the lamb that was slaughtered the night the Israelites left Egypt. And the Israelites took the blood of the lamb and placed it on the doorpost as a symbol of their wanting collectively to leave Egypt, to go to Sinai to become the Jewish people. The Pesach is the lamb, and it becomes the name of the holiday. And I'll show you one more very interesting thing about Pesach and the way the Hebrew language works. I've taught you before that Hebrew words have three-letter roots. And the three-letter root of this word is Pei, Samech, and Chet. Pei, Samech, Chet. And what is the meaning of this three-letter root? And it is to pass over. To pass over. And what Hebrew did was, what the Jewish tradition did was, it took the three letters and made a noun out of the verb to pass over. And the noun became the noun of the lamb that was slaughtered the night of the Exodus. And therefore it also became the name of the holiday Pesach. But the word Pesach is built upon the verb, the three-letter root, for to pass over, to pass over. Here's another Hebrew word, and again it is a two-syllable word. The first syllable is Yah, the Yud with the kamatz. And the second syllable is fe, mitsuyan. This is the fe, the F sound, the pei without a dagesh, with a segol under it. It is fe. Put the word together and you get yafe, mitsuyan, yafe. And yafe is the word for beautiful in Hebrew. This is the word for beautiful. You have your own definition and your own description and your own idea of what beautiful is, but yafe is beautiful or pretty. And you will often hear Israelis say yofi if they like something. Yofi means beautiful or wonderful. So if you like something, you can say in Hebrew, yofi. That's wonderful. That's beautiful. Yafe. And now I want to show you one more Hebrew vowel, a new Hebrew vowel. It's simply one dot that goes under a Hebrew letter. One dot. We've already learned that 3 dots is the vowel sound e, the segol. We've learned 2 dots is the Hebrew vowel tsere, a. 1 dot is the Hebrew vowel e, and it's called a hirik. Hirik. And now you know 1 dot is E, 2 dots is A, 3 dots is E. And if you watch the mouth tends to get larger, tends to open more as one says each of those 3 vowels. The E, the A, the E. The mouth widens with 1 dot, 2 dots, 3 dots. E, A, E. E, A, E. 1 dot is E, 2 dots is A, 3 dots is E. The hirik, the tsere, and the segol. And we already learned that you can add a yud to a vowel, and the yud becomes part of that vowel. So here we see an aleph with a hirik under it. If we add a yud to this vowel, the vowel is the hirik plus the yud, and it simply remains E. So there are 2 ways to write the E in Hebrew, the hirik alone, or the hirik with a yud that follows it. So now let's take a look at a new Hebrew word with the hirik in it. And here you see a word with 2 vowels, the shuruk and the hirik. Can you read this 2-syllable word? It is another Jewish holiday. The first syllable is pu, and the second syllable is reem, mitsuyan. The resh with the hirik followed by a final mem is reem. You put the word together and you get Purim. Purim. And of course, Purim is the Hebrew holiday of Purim, when we celebrate the victory of Esther and Mordechai as they defeat the evil Haman. The holiday of Purim. By the way, the word Purim is a plural word. In Hebrew, the im at the end of a word is like adding an S in English. It is the plural ending. And pur is the word for lot, as in a lottery. And the idea of Purim is that everything happened by chance in the story, and that human beings use that chance to do good for other people. And Purim refers to the lottery, which Haman used to decide when he would destroy the Jewish people. And so if you remember, Haman chooses by lot the date upon which he is going to kill all the Jews in the Purim story. And he chooses the date by lottery of Adar 13. But everything in the Purim story tends to be by chance, and therefore the name of the holiday is lottery or lots, Purim. And that's the second of the words we've learned so far, Purim. And you can now read the words Pesach, Passover, and Purim, the holiday of lots, the holiday of Purim. So there you have the pei, fei, and final fei. And I just want to show you a few more words you now can read in Hebrew using these letters, just for fun. See if you can read this one-syllable word. The Gimel, the Shuruk, and the final Fei. How would you pronounce this real Hebrew word? If you said goof, you are correct. This is the Hebrew word goof, and goof in Hebrew is the word for the human body. Goof is the word for body in Hebrew. By the way, if goof is body, what would goof yafeh mean? And if you said a beautiful body, you are correct. And what's interesting is that in Hebrew, the adjective follows the noun. It literally says body beautiful. In English, we would say a beautiful body. Guf yafeh. How about this word? Two vowels, two syllables. It's got the new vowel, the hirik. The first syllable is pa, and the second syllable is neem. Mitsuyan, neem. Put the word together. Panim is correct. Mitsuyan. Panim in Hebrew means face. Face. In Yiddish, we tend to say ponim, but in Hebrew it is panim. It means face. Okay, how about this word? Here you see a word with the final fe, one syllable, because there's only one vowel. It's simply pronounced af. Mitsuyan, af. And af means nose. This is how you say nose in Hebrew, af. And therefore, an af yafeh would be a beautiful nose, mitsuyan. Another Hebrew word, one syllable, with the pei. How do you read this word? Peh is right, peh. And peh means mouth, mouth. And peh yafeh would mean a beautiful mouth. So there you see the Hebrew letter pei and the family pei, fei, and final fei, and the Hebrew vowel hirik, which makes the E sound in English, the hirik. And when we meet next time, what I'd love to do is simply give you a series of words, especially words that have to do with Judaism, which you now can read with just the 16 letters and the vowels we've learned so far. You have no idea how much Hebrew you now can read. I want to show you the next time we meet on From the Aleph Bet. In the meantime, I invite you once again, be in touch with me, please. And if you'd like to have either a lesson sheet or some worksheets that go along with this lesson, please visit our website at www.shalomtv.com or be in touch with me by email at